First things first on a Thursday morning. Back here with NBA champ Antoine Walker. Twan, Suns and Lakers, Lakers and Suns. Game 3 set for tonight at Staples Center. Phoenix officially listing Chris Paul on the injury report with that shoulder. He's listed as probable. But remember, we saw in Game 2 what a hobbled CP3 might mean for the series. So, Antoine Walker, how much will CP3's health determine this series?
Well, it's a couple things about this subject. The first thing is the Phoenix Suns did a terrible job. First of all, you win Game 1. You don't have to play Chris Paul in Game 2. This is good. You're looking for a long series. You know it's going to probably take you 6 or 7 games to win it. You rest him Game 2. Give him an opportunity to get that shoulder as 100% as possible. So that's the first mistake they made. The second thing is I feel so bad for Chris Paul. Once again, unfortunately, this guy's worked so hard to put himself in position to have an opportunity to try to make a deep run in the playoffs. And he's not going to be healthy enough to be able to do that. The third thing is that Suns didn't have a chance to win this series. The size of the Lakers was going to oppose their will. Game 1 was a stepping stone for them. It was a wake-up call for AD to be more aggressive, to dominate, to use his size, not only on the offensive end, on the defensive end. Then Drummond woke up as well and had a big game. But this is a bad matchup for the Suns. We said that any team that was going to play the Lakers at the 7th, 8th seed, we're going to have a tough time trying to beat them in the playoffs. The Lakers are only going to get better and better as the playoffs are going along. The first game was a fill-out game. LeBron James typically does this for whatever reason. I heard Nick talk about this a lot, where he plays kind of possum the first game. He takes 13 shots. He's not really aggressive. And then he just, to kind of fill out what the series is going to be. LeBron James and the Lakers knew they didn't want to go down 0-2. One thing we got to realize in this playoffs as we continue to talk about it, we have fans now. We have home court advantage. These things are in play now. So the role players are going to play better. It's going to be better playoff games. But the dominant teams are usually going to factor. The Lakers are a team that can go on the road and win. So if CP3 was 100%, they was not going to win this series. Now that he's not going to be healthy and the series is going to continue on.
Stop it.
This series is over. Chris Paul had a terrific year. I'm not taking anything away from them, but they would not beat the Lakers. They may not win another game. This thing could possibly be over.
Woof. Twan, there's only a handful of good ones on TV, man. And I respect you so much. And you're one of my favorite players to watch because you can do it inside and outside. And that was my game when I was growing up playing basketball. But for you to come up here and talk about the Suns never had a chance is ridiculous, and I got to push back on you on that. Are you kidding me? This was all about CP3. Look what he did when he was in L.A. Look what he did last year with Oklahoma, the Thunder. Look what he did this year with the Suns. So you have CP3. Obviously, he went down early in Game 1. They still pull it off. But then you don't have him in the second game because he's literally running around with one arm. And they lose the game, and they're still in it. I mean, it took the Lakers up until the last minute of the game to really pull away. You had LeBron hit a big shot. You had AD hit a big shot. Just imagine what would have happened if CP3 was there. He is their general. So like, for you to say that, man, it's almost like it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful, man.
No, I'm not disrespecting them, but sometimes it's a bad matchup. The defending champs is a bad matchup for them, regardless of how good a Chris Paul was playing. We know what Chris Paul is capable of doing. Now, he can make it a tougher series. He probably can go 6 or 7 games with Chris Paul being healthy. It's unfortunate, B. You know this. You know when you get into the playoffs and you as a player, you want to be 100%. You don't want to be 50%, 60%, not being able to get a team what you're capable of doing. That's why it's tough. It's unfortunate. It happens in the game. Some guys we've watched all season long. We watched LeBron miss a significant amount of time, AD. So it's unfortunate Chris Paul injury comes here. He's got a streak of bad luck with injuries. I feel so bad for him because this guy's worked so hard. He was in Knicks MVP conversation. And you got to realize that unfortunately, injuries are a part of the game, and they happen from time to time. And for Chris and his playoff run, he's had to deal with injuries.
Yeah, and so really quick here, Nick, we talked about this for, a couple of months here. And what I've been saying is, the reason why they had a chance and why they are the favorites is because of AD. He's been missing all year. He had one big game. He had a good quarter. and then you had LeBron James. He's still not 100%. So, Nick, that's why, I'm pushing back on Antoine because of what the Lakers situation is and what it was as far as AD and LeBron James.
Yeah, I'm just surprised that since AD has had one good quarter in the playoffs, it is what you're telling me, and LeBron's still hurt, why you're not sticking with the Suns.
Oh my goodness.
I mean, Chris Paul's not 100%, but LeBron's not 100%. You've told me all year they're the better team. You told me before the series that we're going to win. You told me after game one, the game Chris Paul got hurt, that the Suns were clearly going to win the series and clearly the better team. So I'm just surprised why you're changing. I'm just surprised why you've decided that this
because
is a pick you don't want to
CP3 went
stick
down.
with, Brandon.
Wild.
No, but he's still going to
CP3
play.
went down.
And Anthony Davis had. Listen, if you'd have said it's because well, Anthony Davis got it back going, then I'd be like, oh, okay. But you don't think he got it back going. You keep saying he had one good quarter. I'm not sure even which quarter you're referring to. I thought he was pretty good throughout the game, but it's fine. I just think you should consider sticking with the Suns because the Lakers are such a flawed, bad team. Here's what I think about this series. This was going to be the Lakers' toughest series, Wilds, until the finals. And now it's over. And now you look at tonight's game, and look, they don't play again until Sunday, so it'll be on 2 days rest. And then LeBron will be able to smell extra rest coming. And this first round is likely going to go a lot like last year's first round, granted for different reasons, where it's like, oh, lose game one, Lakers are in trouble, don't look the same, this, that, and the third, and then it's like, oh, then they win the next four. And so the Lakers, it took them all year with Anthony Davis and LeBron's injuries to earn the 7 seed. And it took them 1/2 to essentially become the 2 seed. Because the Lakers now have the path to the finals of the 2 seed, and they have home court advantage for the rest of this series. So, yeah, I mean, I think the Lakers were going to win anyway, but I think it was going to be a tough series because I think the Suns are the second best team in the conference. But now I'm not sure the Suns win another game in this series.
Yeah, wow. I think you're right, unfortunately. Antoine, I'm going to try to put an optimistic face on this series for Suns fans. I liked your take that Chris Paul should have sat out all of game 2, try to get as close to 100% rather than sort of try to gut out a win at home. Would you keep him out for the next 2 games and try to get him to 100%? Or do you want this sort of like a kind of like hobbled Chris Paul, a version of Chris Paul? Or do you, rest him to like, maybe we try to like stage a 3-1 comeback, but our only chance to win this series is if you're healthy. So we have to prioritize health and sit you out even if we fall in a big deficit.
Well, players are going to be stubborn. Chris Paul probably was very stubborn as far as he wanted to be on the floor. So you respect that and you want to give the players his wish. But Monty Williams has to step in and really try to fill out the series. If your team is as good as they were all season long, Cameron Payne is a good backup who's had a very, very good year. You take your chances. You sit him game 2, possibly game 3. Nick just explained the schedule. So you had a nice break in there where he could have came back game 3 healthy, or at least game 4. If you're down 2-1 and you got the type of team that you had all year and you're the second best team in the Western Conference, you should feel comfortable being that you can come back from 2-1. You're expecting a long series. You're expecting to go 7 games. But they have him in the playoffs a long time. Chris Paul has been unbelievable all year. It's tough to keep a guy like that. He's in his 16th, 17th year in the league. He don't want to sit out. He believes he's had a good young core around him. But you got to remember, this young core is their first time around, and you're playing against the defending champs. It's unfortunate you draw the Lakers at the 7th seed, but this is what happened. You were going to have to go through them probably to win it. You played them first, which was probably to your advantage. It just did not work out with Chris Paul being hurt. I just don't like them with Chris Paul being hurt, because they're going to need him not only to be a facilitator on the floor, they need him to score the basketball. They need him to be aggressive offensively. Right. That's one thing. Chris has been tremendous in the 4th quarter. If he cannot shoot the basketball and do the things he does offensively, then they're going to struggle to win this series. It's going to be virtually impossible because the Lakers have so many dominant factors. When you think about the inside presence, and they don't have enough bodies to throw at LeBron. LeBron is very casual. These 2 games, to me, has been very casual. No pressure on him. These young guys are trying to guard him. And then the 4th quarter, you saw he scores when he wants to. So it's unfortunate, but this series is over with. I know